Welcome back to the Mud Puddle Theory. Hi, I'm Jerry and Quick, and I wrote the Mud Puddle Theory with the goal to unite and bring us closer together as a nation with the truth concerning our dark past history. The key to uniting and bringing us closer together as a nation is to know and to understand the underlying causes for our division, something which I teach not only in the Mud Puddle Theory, but also in my videos. In my videos thus far, I have focused my main attention on the truth concerning our dark past history so that you can know and better understand the underlying causes for our division. I'm going to shift gears concerning what I talk about in this video because while it is very important to know and understand the truth concerning our dark past history, it is also important to know and understand current events which are dividing us as a nation. In this video, I will discuss the educational system and ask the question whether the educational system is failing our children or whether our children are failing the educational system, and if so, why. As I will discuss in this video, while there could be some improvements in our educational system, the answer is that the main cause for the failure falls on the parents and the community. In reading the Mud Puddle Theory and in watching my videos, it should be rather obvious that I am an advocate for the poor people because I grew up very, very poor and I know what the struggles are like trying to get an education so that I could be successful and make a better life for myself and my family. It should also be obvious that I have a lot of concern for our children and their future growing up in this great country of ours. I would love to see all children, regardless of the color of his or her skin, have the same opportunities and privileges to better their education and become successful, something which is not happening in this great country of ours today. Recently, I read an article in the Daily Signal by Walter E. Williams, who is a black professor at George Mason University, and he teaches economics. The title of his article was "A Glimmer of Hope in Black Education." In his article, he stated that, quote, politicians and the education establishment after decades of promises cannot do much to narrow the huge educational achievement gap between Asians and whites on the one hand and blacks on the other hand, end quote. He went on to say that, quote, all too often a black student with a high school diploma cannot read, write, or compute at a 6th or 7th grade level. This tends to make high school diplomas held by blacks less valuable in the eyes of an employer, end quote. I'm constantly hearing that the educational system is failing because of the funds or monies that are not being invested in the public schools, and mainly in this case in the black communities. In the Birmingham area where I live, I'm constantly seeing that additional funds are being provided for the schools, which are primarily black schools. Not long ago, I saw a newscast which stated that most of the schools in the Birmingham area had been given failing grades by the state of Alabama. The state of Alabama had previously threatened to take over the Birmingham school system because it was failing. Based on what I have seen and heard, it is not failing because of the lack of funding. In his article, Mr. Williams stated that, quote, the most crucial input for a child's education cannot be provided by schools or politicians. Such calls for our education budgets will produce disappointing results as they have in the past, end quote. So you want to know what is the solution? What can we do that will not only improve the educational achievements of not only the blacks, but will also improve the educational achievements of all children, regardless of the color of their skin. In the Mud Puddle Theory, I was very critical of the NAACP and even suggested that they disband, or in the alternative, that they find a cause and focus their attention on a cause which would be positive for the blacks rather than continue to divide us. In his article, Mr. Williams quoted Maria Scruggs, who is president of the St. Petersburg, Florida chapter of the NAACP, as saying, quote, "The school district has shown that they just can't do it. Now it's time for the community to step in," end quote. In reading Mr. Williams' article, it was apparent that Ms. Scruggs' statement was not just referring to the community, but was also referring to the parents to get involved and make a difference, something which I strongly advocate in the mud polo theory. This not only applies to the black community, but also applies to any community. While this is a good start, it is just that, a good start. In order to be successful in pursuit of an education, one must have the drive, determination, and motivation to want to learn, and a vision to see that you can, if educated, have the opportunity to be successful. While the parents can be instrumental in providing the encouragement and even discipline for their children, they should be more involved than just simply doing that. They should need to get out and actually get involved. Previously, I discussed how the state of Alabama had threatened to take over the Birmingham school system because it was failing. In a different video, I had mentioned Judge Raymond Chambliss, who is a black judge and who is a presiding judge over family court in our local courts. And I also talked about how he had, on his own, raised enough money to build a family resources center to address the needs of the families and to provide a positive environment for the children. While all the discussions was going on concerning the state of Alabama taking over the Birmingham school system, I was watching the news and Judge Chambliss came on to talk about the state taking over the Birmingham school system. Apparently, part of the reason why the school system was failing was because of the number of absentees. Judge Chambliss had a stern warning for those parents whose children were missing school on a regular basis. His warning was that he was going to start making the parents responsible and, if necessary, he was going to put them in jail. Another obstacle that has to be overcome to achieve success with closing the educational gap between Asians and whites on one hand and blacks on the other hand, the other side, is the community itself. Most, if not all, the areas where education is failing are communities where the crime rates are very, very high. There are, however, enough good, law-abiding people in those communities that can have a positive effect, provided that they will get involved. Well, I'm very concerned about all children regardless of their skin color. My biggest concern is for the young black children and the environment that they have been exposed to over the years, something which has not only adversely affected the children, but also the parents. For years, a lot of the propaganda being used against us has been focused on the blacks and, even though not intentional, has been passed down from the parents to the children. The blacks have been told that because of white privilege, they couldn't succeed and that a white would be chosen over them. Of course, as I discussed in another video, white privilege is a myth that has been used as propaganda to divide us as a nation. While some may be privileged, they are usually the ones who are famous and or have money, regardless of the color of their skin. One of the biggest myths that I am familiar with is what I call the IQ myth. Yes, I have seen the figures showing that Asians' IQ is 116, whites' IQ is 110, while blacks and Hispanics' IQ is an average of 80. I have seriously questioned these figures because I have had the pleasure of talking to and interacting with some very intelligent blacks and Hispanics. In doing my research in preparation to write the mud polo theory, I came across an article where a separate study had been done concerning blacks and their IQ. That research found that blacks who grew up in middle to upper middle class families and whose parents were educated had a higher IQ than blacks that were tested that came from lower class poor families, which is understandable. I'm sure that you would get similar results that the whites were tested in a similar manner. An article also stated that even if the IQ was low, that over time and education, someone could actually improve and raise their IQ score. Personally, I don't believe in IQ testing. There are those who can't take written tests but can achieve fantastic results educationally without having a high IQ score. Also, those who may never have been exposed to facts that are on the IQ test and thus have difficulty in answering those questions. One of the things that I am strongly opposed to is reducing the standards so that the blacks can graduate school with a, quote, fraudulent diploma, end quote, as characterized by Mr. Williams. This not only causes prospective employers to be hesitant on hiring blacks with diplomas, but it also gives the blacks a false sense of security. Once they are hired and then the employer learns that they are not qualified to do the job, they're often fired or laid off. This has to be mentally degrading and also must have an adverse mental effect on those blacks that are involved. In my video on affirmative action, I discussed a similar situation where the standards were reduced for blacks and Hispanics so that they could get into some of the most prestigious and hardest colleges in the United States and the country, and universities in the country. Once enrolled, they had difficulty keeping up, competing with their classmates, were usually at the bottom of their class, and a lot would often drop out and wouldn't get their college degree. Since I have already covered this subject in my affirmative action video, I won't repeat it here, but will suggest that you watch that video. In the words of Jason L. Riley, a black journalist for the Wall Street Journal, stop helping us. Jason L. Riley, Justice Clarence Thomas, and I all have the same concern by reducing standards and developing certain policies to help the blacks. Blacks are being placed in a situation where they can't succeed and where failure is likely. Rather than helping the blacks, they are only being hurt, and their situation, rather than improving, is only deteriorating. Martin Luther King had a dream, and I have a vision. I envision that the day will come when life will become competitive, where you will work for and earn what you get from life. Nothing will be handed to you on a silver platter. A time where we'll all be equal and capable of achieving our goals, and when the blacks will see that they are capable of learning and competing with anyone. Thanks so much for watching. I hope that you have not only enjoyed watching my video, but I hope that you have learned something that will help you know and understand the underlying causes for our division. Please like and subscribe below, and feel free to share this video. I not only welcome, but I encourage you to leave your productive and meaningful comments below so that we can have the conversations, discussions, and dialogues that we need, that will unite and bring us closer together as a nation. Please, no cursing, profanity, or name calling. I would also encourage you to visit my website, themudpuddletheory.com, and subscribe to receive my newsletter. There are also articles that I have written on my website that you may be interested in, and articles that you may like to read. While there, you can go to my store page and click on the Amazon icon and order the Mud Puddle Theory. Mud Puddle Theory can also be ordered through Barnes & Noble online, Books A Million online, and your local bookstore can also order the book for you. Thanks again for watching. God bless America.